Richard Pyatt. Welcome back to Creating Dementia Solutions. Our episodes come from Miles for Memories. Check us out, milesformemories.org. Movement, programming, research, all in the area of dementia and programs for folks who are living with it and those who are caregiving in this area. This year, in 2026, we're going to hear some personal stories of dementia and other information that you should find useful in this area. Say hello to Kim Smallcombe. She is the Community Programs Manager at Carewell Services Southwest here in Battle Creek, and we're going to learn some practical information as well as some of her personal story. Hi, Kim.
Hi. It's good to meet you.
Good to be here and be with you. This you have quite a remarkable story in the sense that not only do you have a personal story associated with dementia, but it motivated you not only personally, but career-wise as well. Set the scene for us with that.
That's exactly right. My mother, who had always been an incredibly competent person, was starting to have some signs of dementia. And then she had a health event that spiraled it forward very quickly.
Oh, boy.
And my brother and I, who I lived 2 doors down, he lived in her home, were suddenly full-time caregivers. At the same time, she went under hospice care. So she was under that for 6 months. We went through all of the normal caregiving pieces, as well as having to accept how quickly her decline came upon her. And it was heartbreaking, of course, to see.
Sure.
But we were just fortunate that we both were able to be there for her every day, as well as the hospice care workers. Now, in that being that, she got put on hospice, and my brother and I, that is covered by Medicare, but we didn't know a thing about Medicare at the time. And so we were terrified. How does this work? Is she covered? You know, what kind of expenses will this bring on? As well as on top of just the normal caregiving aspect of it. Because hospice is there, but they come in quickly to give baths. The nurses come and check. There's a little bit of housekeeping and other things that are supplied, but you still need to be there personally if they are no longer able to walk and that type of thing, to help them with all of their daily needs. So we were blessed that we were able to do that, but at the same time I recognized that, like so many other people who've worked in the private sector their entire lives, I had no idea of how any of this worked. My husband and I had moved to Battle Creek, and so I decided to look for another job, and the opportunity came up to be a Medicare counselor at Carewell Services. Now, a lot of times people hear Carewell, and if they're not tightly connected to Health and Human Services, they think it might be an insurance company or something of that nature. It isn't. It's the Area Agency on Aging.
Yes.
And so we are there for everybody who's over the age of 60 or over the age of 18 with a disability and their caregivers. And we have many, many programs and resources to assist with that. Not just the Medicare that I've already spoken about, but we also have a resource room, a caregiver's resource room that's open from 2 to 4 p.m. every day, filled with all types of reference information for anybody who's a caregiver. We also have a program called Trualta, which you can get just by going to our website, carewellservices.org, where you can download the Trualta program onto your phone, and it is filled with 2 to 3 minute long videos all about being a caregiver, and many of them based upon the dementia aspect of it. Mm-hmm. So especially for those who are almost homebound because the person they're taking care of is homebound, right, it's much easier for them to do that. We also have a caregivers group that meets every week to help support them, because there's so much that goes into it. Some people are light caregivers. They're just running errands. I'm getting groceries. I'm picking up meds.
Sure.
Others are, so fully involved that their entire life is swallowed by it. And we have all the supports and services there to help optimize both the patient and the caregiver's needs.
I want to linger for a second on the point at which you found yourself when you realized you were going to be one of 2 caregivers. Now, you have another life to
I sure
maintain,
did.
but somehow, so in our last discussion, we were talking with Sherry about the notion of caregiving, and as a young girl, she was helping in small ways to really relieve some of the, well, I guess what we might call the chief caregivers, right?
Exactly.
But in this case, you went from 0 to 60
Right.
in no time at all.
While working a 60-hour-a-week job.
Yeah.
So it was quite overwhelming at first, and it can be for anybody, even if it's just gradually coming in. For me, I was blessed in that it happened to happen during COVID. If anything good happened during COVID, it was that I was working remotely to begin with. So doing so from my mother's home was a viability for us, because otherwise we would have had to have a paid caregiver there during the hours that my brother was not at home.
Sure.
So that was actually a great thing. Plus, of course, the hospice workers are angels, special person that goes into that line of work, and they were so helpful to us as far as directing us and helping guide us in the things that we needed to do to help make her most comfortable.
Sure.
And to help alleviate us. They have so many wonderful programs too. They, of course, will have ministries that will come into them if they wish that. They have music programs if that's soothing for them. And with my mother, with her cognitive health that so quickly declined too, those types of things were very, very comforting to her. So that was a wonderful thing, and it just helped make the system easier. But I had to learn how to change adult diapers. I mean, the whole gamut of things.
Yeah.
And that was way outside of my wheelhouse at the time.
Sure. I'm curious about how you maintained your professional life. So let's suppose you're working. As you indicated, you had the flexibility to work from home. So you were working from your mother's home. But if she needed you in the middle of a meeting with your boss, I mean, how did that work?
Well, they were very gracious, because those types of things did happen. And I was in sales, so I was on the phone with my customers, throughout the day, not 100% of the day.
Yes.
Had my reports and other things to do as well, and quotes to write, but they knew Kim may need to pause here and there. And they also knew that after the end of my day at my mom's house, I'd go home and finish whatever I couldn't. So it became jam-packed. I'm not going to tell you I wasn't exhausted, because I was.
Yeah.
And I did not know about the types of local resources that were available to me, that we like to make sure that everybody knows about. There's so many people, and most of us are a sandwich generation. When that happens, you may still have children that you're raising while something like this goes on. Now, my children were fully grown, but I had a husband at home, and of course a home to maintain myself, but made it work. And that lingered for 7 months total, but it was not easy.
Yeah. 7 months, it probably felt like 7 years.
Yeah.
At times.
And it's hard to put it all away and let yourself get to sleep at night. That's a tough thing too, is being able to take the anxieties away, because you never knew what tomorrow was going to bring.
Well, and you allude to where I was headed next, and the idea that you too needed support and respite and those things.
Yes.
I imagine for some caregivers it's difficult to say, I need a time out.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so. That's something too. We also have a program that is 6 weeks long, that is one day a week for 6 weeks, that addresses that exactly, that it's okay that you need to take some time out. Now, there's respite that's available, as well as, and whether or not they're hospice or not, this is anybody. And there's also adult daycare centers that are here in the area, so that some people cannot afford to be home, and they need that parent or whomever it is they're caregiving for to go there, so that they can still go do their job, because they cannot afford not to work too. Of
course.
Which is, of course, something that's much more prevalent today than it was when I was a child. Back then, 25% of couples both worked. Now 75% do. So we have to always look for all the different types of choices and options that are available to them to help make it work, as well as to help give them the kind of emotional support that's necessary, because it's a difficult time, not just for the patient, but for the person who's caregiving for them. There's a lot of emotional toil that goes into the worry and the love that you have for that person, and wanting to make sure that they're okay and that you're doing the right things, but also taking that break so that you can be at your best,
Yeah.
to be able to give them your best.
And you had the benefit of a sibling to tag team, I suppose, and take turns. Did you, when that began, did you both plan that out? I mean, you talk about how you were going to take care of it. How did it?
The only blessing was that we both worked the same shift, so I was able to be there while he had to be at the workplace.
Yes.
And then each night when he'd come home, we'd have a meal together, the three of us, to be able to talk about the day, to do the passing of the torch for him for the evening so he knew what to expect, what had happened. He did the same thing in the morning before he'd leave for work, tell me how the evening went and, any special needs that might come of it. And making sure that the meds were all taken and all the other things that go along with that.
Yeah. And I think about his position too, right? He's working all day and then he comes home and he has this responsibility all night.
Right.
Yeah.
She slept pretty well, but he was still on pins and needles because she became to the point where she was bedridden, but she would try to get up because she didn't remember that she was bedridden, and so he had to constantly listen, and we actually put a baby monitor in the room so that if he heard a noise, he could double check and see. And we had the ambulance come out at one point because she'd fallen from bed in a way where he wasn't able to help her up. So they came out. She wasn't injured, but helped to get her back into bed.
Yeah.
And that's something that we have a blessing here in the Battle Creek area, is that there's a membership that you can buy from the ambulance service where they will come out and do those types of things as well as take people to the hospital.
Sure.
All for one very low annual fee, which is a great thing compared to what normal insurance policies will cost you if you were to do that each time.
Before we go, I want to give you a chance to talk about how you arrived at the decision to change your career as a result of the experience that you had in this area as a caregiver.
I just remembered how frightening it was to be suddenly thrust into this and not knowing a thing about Medicare and the opportunity to do that. And I went, yeah, that's what I need to do. I want to make sure that I'm helping to educate not just the Medicare recipients, but the caregivers sometimes when they have to take over that duty.
Absolutely.
So that they know the best way to go forward. We educate, they make the choices. And, just recently too, we expanded upon that with, it's a program grant from DHHS, which is called Person-Centered Options Counseling. And that is huge because what it does is it helps us to educate the population on all their different options as somebody starts to need supports and services. Many people think, oh my gosh, when I turn 85, I hope I don't have to go to a nursing home. I've only seen a few percent who want to, and they want it for the social reasons that they happen to be very isolated.
Sure.
But the others are generally, no, I don't want to do this. And everything about us at CareWell, as well as this program, is all about your independence and your choice. And this helps to tell them about all the different types of supports and services that are in place, such as home help, such as My Choice waivers, such as PACE, ACLS. There's many different options that people can take that allows them to remain in their own home and brings the nursing level care to their home so that they get to be in the place where they have their most comfort and privacy and dignity, and allows them to keep their pets and allows them to carry on with their life in as normal manner as possible for as long as possible. And these are all funded, so if people are eligible, and there's all different funding levels as far as income eligibilities and such, it allows them to make choice. And I'd like to invite people to come out long before they need the services.
Yes.
That way they're educated on it so that they say, okay, when my time comes or gets nearer, I can already have the knowledge of this so I can make what's the best choice for my circumstances.
Well, think about what we just heard in the last 15 minutes, some very personal stories from Kim about her own journey, but how that managed to motivate her in this way to help folks, hopefully ahead of time, know what those resources are and avail themselves of that. And so, like Miles for Memories, CareWell Services Southwest is among those with resources, and folks like Kim who are ready to help and help you understand. And you can do that well in advance, as she points out. Kim, we really appreciate your sharing your story. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Kim Smallcombe with Carewell Services Southwest on creating Dementia Solutions. Information in the show notes for these episodes. Click through for more details from Miles for Memories and Carewell Services and more. And we'll have more episodes coming that focus on these caregiving personal stories here on Creating Dementia Solutions. Take care.